President-elect Donald Trump, as a candidate in 2024, promised a sweeping policy agenda should he win another term in the White House. Perhaps his two biggest promises that he seems to care the most about involve immigration, with his promise to seal the U.S.-Mexico border, and his extensive talk about tariffs and trade. On immigration, he's promised to stop the flow of migrants from south of the U.S.-Mexico border and also institute a massive deportation force. He hasn't given a lot of details necessarily about what it would actually look like to use, in his words, the U.S. military, potentially National Guard from U.S. states, even domestic police forces at the municipal level. So it remains to be seen what that looks like, but it's an anchor promise of his agenda that his supporters care very much about and that the president-elect himself seems to care very much about. President Trump also will have extensive power to set tariffs, and he has promised 10, 20, 30% tariffs depending on the day, depending on the speech, on perhaps all products that come out of China, for example. Again, we'll see exactly what those details look like, but that is a very consistent issue that Donald Trump has cared about, not just during his first term, but even years before he got into politics. President Trump and his campaign talked about a number of issues over the last year and a half in education, the environment, how to address climate change, or how to pull back the Biden administration's actions in those areas. And if you look at a lot of those topical areas, civil rights, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, it all adds up to a vision from President Trump to not necessarily to reduce federal power and reduce the federal role in American society, but simply to concentrate a lot of that power that now is distributed out across the federal government into the White House and make the president almost a much more, and his top staff, a much more day-to-day manager of how the federal government implements policy and inputs controls throughout levels of government and when it comes to regulating the private sector.